sometimes it feels like sex is just another thing on the to-do list. You know, it's like I'm doing the things with the kids and the laundry and getting them for my walk and getting the work done. And okay, we got to check off that box and have sex with our husband. And not only is that not fair to them, it's not fair to you, it really doesn't benefit anyone. I just want to share a little bit about how I navigate that as a mom in a 15-year relationship with a new baby, doing all the things. How do we navigate that so that intimacy isn't just another thing to check off on the to-do list, but something that we both enjoy and it's a win-win for both of us. I think a lot of moms feel overwhelmed and they feel busy. And sometimes I'll get these comments that say like, well, like your babies are with you 24/7. Wouldn't seem to think that their babies don't sleep. Because the reality is, no, of course, babies sleep sometimes, but it's like, did they fight to sleep? Because this guy likes to fight to sleep. Did you have a rough day with them that led up to that moment? Is the house a disaster? Are there lunches that need to be packed? Have you had a moment to yourself? Did you get to shower today, or did you like look like this grungy and have like spit up and bananas all day? So it's like, okay, you get the kids down, or you get this moment where yes, there is the physical time to be intimate. Are you in a space to be intimate, to feel close and to feel connected? You know, the other night I said to my partner, it's like, okay, well, yeah, if we were to do it now, you might have my body, but you definitely don't have my mind. And so I wasn't in it. Because in the hustle of being a mom and the overwhelm that can be in life, I think we often are just trying to keep the wheels on the bus. We're just doing our best to balance all the priorities, including the sex. And what that actually means is that we are living in our head, right? They are going to struggle to have access to turn on because they're doing all the mom things and they're putting the baby down and they're, you know, even if they have a great partner who's helpful, as I do, you're still doing so many things, right? I'm researching baby-led weaning because my baby's about to start eating. I'm organizing my schedule for my daughter who's at daycare. I'm messaging her horseback riding teacher, right? Living in our heads, it's going to be a bigger struggle to have access to our turn on. So there's several different practices that we can develop in life to help us to live more in our body, to be more in the present moment, to transition from busy mom brain to turned on sensual goddess. And it takes effort and it takes work. And when you are in the hustle of life and you're feeling overwhelmed and tired and you haven't had a moment to yourself, when it often can feel like you're doing that quote unquote work to get from A to Z for your partner. Because when you're at A, it doesn't feel like it's for you because there isn't desire there. You just want to, shut off for the day, for the night, close in. Oftentimes, intimacy won't feel like it's for me until I'm in the moment. And that's because I have something called passive desire, and a lot of the women that I work with, that's what they have as well. So passive desire or responsive desire is essentially thinking about like a car in a snowbank, right? It's buried, it's cold, it's not warmed up, ready to go. So getting that car going is going to take a little bit of effort, right? We need to clean the car off. We need to make sure that there is ice around the tires. We need to turn it on, turn the heat on, let it sit before the car is warmed up and ready to go. And so the thought of going to the store in a car that is covered in ice is very daunting, right? It's like, oh, it's this huge process. But is going to the store to get something nourishing for yourself or something that you're really excited about, is it worth that journey once you finally have a warm car, you're on the open road and you're there, right? And you get the thing you want. Yes, right? I always say I sound like my dad when I start using analogies. You want love and connection, you want closeness with your partner, you want to feel intimate, but you're buried in the freaking snowbank. And so it is going to feel like, yeah, maybe I want that thing at the store, but it's going to take some effort to get there, and that effort often is going to feel like it's for your partner. So something we have to remind ourselves as women who have responsive passive desire or struggle with intimacy is that you need to get in touch with what is in it for you. What is the purpose, or what is in it for you that's going to make it enjoyable to go clean the car off, to get the car warmed up, to let it warm up, to turn it on, what's going to be that process for you that's going to help you to get out of your head? Why is it important for you? Not, oh, it's another thing on my to-do list for my partner. But what's in it for you? To put that effort in, to switch from mom busy mode to sensual goddess. There is that effort, right? I'm not active in my desire, meaning a desire just doesn't like bop me on the head and like, oh, I'm just ready to go right from my mom state to jumping in bed. Like that just doesn't happen for me. And I don't need to judge myself on that. I'm not less than. My partner and I just need to understand how my desire works and navigate it accordingly. But I do find when I am stuck in my head, when I've had a particularly overwhelming day or it's been a while since we've connected intimately, I can feel this like, oh, it's another thing on my to-do list. I feel like I'm doing it for him, just for him, to say I did it, to get it done. And the reality is I'm not, right? The reality is I want the same thing as him. I want to feel close, connected. I want to feel in my body. I want to get out of this freaking busy head that keeps me overwhelmed. Or even as I'm saying all this stuff, I kind of laugh to myself because I, can even hear my partner, like, sex for him is like easy. The house could be a disaster. He could be a disaster. I could be a disaster. All shit. The world could be coming down and he would be like, want to have sex? And that's just not how I work. Again, I think there was a period of time in my life where I really just wished I wasn't the way that I was, like I wished that intimacy wasn't so quote unquote difficult for me. But I realized over the years that it's not that intimacy itself is difficult. It's really making the space to get into my body and get out of my head and feel relaxed and be on the same page with my partner. And like if we had like some annoyances that day because of how the scheduling worked, or because you get frustrated with the kids, then you just can't be mad at them, so then you're mad at each other. Like all of these things are going to impact what happens at the end of the day, or those moments that you have to come together. So a big part of this is finding out what intimacy brings to your life, finding out what you enjoy about intimacy and what your body's really craving and wanting. Because also so many women who struggle with intimacy, and I know this was me in the past, I had no idea what my body even liked. So in those moments of feeling like I was just doing it for him, or there was nothing really in it for me, or I was checking off a box, it was because I also didn't know like what brought my body pleasure, what turned my body on, and what opened me up. And so being able to learn that, which I teach in my women's course, and I'll link that below. The next aspect of this as well is once you know, you also need to be able to find your voice, right? So the other night we are starting to be intimate and I, felt myself feeling like, oh, this is just for him. Another thing on my to-do list, that like old story. And I had to remind myself of what's in it for me and that I'm passive in my desire. So in this moment, I need to use my voice because he might be like ready to go, right? But I'm ready to connect, but I'm just like not in the turned on state that he seems to just walk around in. Cleaning the cabinets, I'm putting the baby down, I'm feeling grungy. We're getting lunches made for the next day. Like just hopping into bed and feeling like I'm so turned on is just completely unrealistic for me at this phase of my life. And so being able to use my voice and say, hey, I need this to slow down a little bit. So what that looked like the other night for me was to say I already kind of got naked, and then I was just like, oh, I wasn't feeling it. I was feeling like I was just doing it for him. And that's not fair to him and that's not fair to me. So that's my responsibility to then use my voice and say, let's slow this down a little bit. Let's just like breathe together for a minute. Like let's just be naked. Let's just hold each other and just like breathe and see how I feel. Like let me take a breath, because I was just running from thing to thing all day. And this was the next thing that I sort of quote unquote ran to check off the box. And so I was like, let's slow this down. Like let's take a breath. And so through that process of using my voice, through slowing things down, through knowing what I need and being able to sort of navigate that or ask for that or do that, then I move from passive desire to active desire, right? Now the car is warmed up and I can feel that. I can feel my heart opening. I can feel myself relaxing. I can feel the thoughts turn off. Wouldn't it be amazing if that's just the state that I lived in? I think there are ways to bring ourselves into that state easier, to live more in that state. I teach that in the women's course as well. But I think that it's not always realistic that we're going to be there. And it takes effort to live like that. So through transitioning to that, then I notice my thoughts. As I'm starting to actually get turned on, my thoughts are changing. And they're saying, oh, why don't we do this more often? This feels so good. And it was because it feels so good, not just to have intimacy with your partner, but to get out of your head, right? So that moment of feeling grounded and relaxed and at peace and just like in touch with your body and what feels good and like all positive sensations and feeling close to my partner and nowhere, like all of that feels so good, and that's what's in it for me. But I know that it can take, there's this kind of transition time that needs to happen from when I'm quote unquote cold in the snowbank to warmed up and en route to where I want to go. You got banana on your head. Buddy is starting baby-led weaning. It is so messy. Oh my gosh. This high chair is a sticky disaster. So I'm going to clean that. So I'm not saying that we should have intimacy when we don't want to. What I'm saying is that we need to recognize we have passive desire, meaning we need time to transition. We also need to recognize what we want and what's in it for us that's going to make it, encourage us to make that transition. Because once things are warmed up, something flips inside of our brain and it starts to feel not like an item on our to-do list, but something that's genuinely for us. And it's like, why don't we do this more often, right? I've said that so many times after sex. And then like today happens and I'm like busy and I'm burping and getting my hair pulled and cleaning sticky bananas. And I'm like, furthest thing from my desire and wanting. Find your voice, know what you want, ask for what you want, and be sympathetic to the fact that you're not broken and there's not something wrong with you. You have passive responsive desire and you're a busy mom who's has a tendency to live in your head, and there is just going to be a different transition or process that takes to get you to a place of intimacy. But I just think it's important to remember that we want desire with our partner, right? We want to feel close and to feel connected and, to keep our relationship strong for so many reasons, including these little buggers that's whining on the floor. Oh, the spit. This life is crazy. This season of our life is crazy. And if you struggled with intimacy before you had kids, then it's like, holy shit. What are you doing? Sometimes it can feel like there's so much that has to happen before you can feel relaxed enough to turn on about. And so to me, I have been really working on some of the systems in my home, and of course that all changed with the second baby. But how does your home run, and the schedules, and when does everything get done, and who's doing everything? Even though that might not seem like it has anything to do with intimacy, when it comes to long-term relationship, it has a lot to do with intimacy, because all of this stuff is impacting your connection, your time, your energy, your feelings toward one another. So basically, you don't get to the end of your evening when you've run around like a chicken with your head cut off and done all the things to be like, oh, this still needs to be done. I still feel like a disaster. I didn't take care of myself at all today, so I'm so disconnected from myself. And now we're going to try to be intimate. Let's just do it to get it done. All of the aspects of the relationship in the home are important. When it comes to the priority list, where should things be? I think they're just all on the priority list, and that's a part of juggling life and figuring out the systems that work for you, but that are also ever changing as kids change, as life throws you curveballs. All these priorities are going to continue to be juggled. I think it's just important that they all stay on the priority list. So I do have a course that's both for women who are in a relationship that are struggling with intimacy, as well on the other side, if you're a man who is in a relationship with a woman who's struggling and you feel hopeless and like you don't know how to help her navigate this situation, I also have a complimentary course for you that teaches you all of this as well. Because at the end of the day, what often happens in an intimacy struggle is that both of us aren't in a place or desire to want to work on the relationship at the same time. Should it be the woman? Should it be the man? In an ideal world, both of us come together and want to work on the relationship, but that just often is not the reality of the situation. And you can get access to my proven system for overcoming intimacy struggles in long-term relationships. Like this video and subscribe to my channel for more videos. Subscribe for more videos, because I'm going to post a video every single week. No, not every week. We're gonna try to post a video whenever we feel like it. Subscribe to my channel. That helps more people find our work. And so like and subscribe for more information on intimacy and how to overcome the intimacy struggles in long-term relationships and the struggles that low libido and a busy life can have on relationships that are so, so important to us. Did you poop? Did you poop?